everyone to today's workshop. We have a few people joining us. So I will just introduce shortly the program. And so the workshop is called How to Position and Communicate Your Product for Growth with the help of Perception Engineering. And we are hosting this session tonight in cooperation with Heraldist. My name is Mathilde, and I host regularly pitch nights and investment conferences at the Startup Club on topic of fashion, luxury, green tech, and food tech. And so tonight it's a little bit different format, and I'm very happy about this new partnership. So I'm very happy to welcome Mirela Angelescu, the managing partner, and Elena Huju, the co-founder and the strategy director, tonight and in this interactive webinar. So the format will be 40 to 45 minutes. Mirela and Elena will tell us more about perception engineering. And in the second part, 15 to 20, 25 minutes, there will be room for your questions. So now, in order to get to know the participants a little bit better, I would like to ask you all to introduce maybe yourself shortly in the chat, maybe just your name and what you do or where you work. And also, if you want to add what are your expectations from this workshop, that would be great. And if you have any questions that come to your mind during the presentation, then don't hesitate to use the chat and ask your questions right away. And I will read them out during the Q&A in the second part. So this is about what we can look forward to tonight. So yeah, I'm happy to give the floor now to Elena and Mirela, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Thank you so much, Mathilde. Thank you everyone for joining. As we're waiting for more people to join, I'll just share my screen first and foremost. And because we are having different time zones, I thought about kicking today's conversation with a small video. Just give me a second. And Mathilde, if you would be so kind to let me know if you can see my screen, just to make sure that we're with everything on tech.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess I can see your screen perfectly.
Perfect. That means that hopefully everyone can do that. So we have people on different time zones. I'm in Europe, Mirela in Singapore. So for her, it's 1 a.m. For me, it's late in the evening, and I think for some of you as well. So before kicking in today's workshop, let me show you some of our work, and it's something which relates tremendously to what we do in our day-to-day job, and I'll explain that a bit later. So please meet Adam at the beginning of our conversation.
Hi, I'm Adam Weiser, and every area of expertise is my area of expertise. Not to brag, but I have over 150 years of startup experience. Being qualified as CEO, CFO, CCO, CAO, all the C's and all the O's, I'm the perfect advisor for every startup out there. I work for Apple's, the fruit, right when they started, fun times. I don't delegate tasks, usually. But if I do it, I check on my teams every other minute for the first couple of years at least. Marketing, please. Build it and they will come. How many startups fail? 9 out of 10? That doesn't sound right. Who did the math? You know, there's nothing like gut feeling. I decide everything from the fruit we eat to the pitch strategy for new business and everything in between. By the way, how much does this video cost? I know a guy who can do wonders with his phone. The only thing I outsource is my hairdo. I'm not as flexible as I used to be. I'm only 184 years old, and I know everything there is to know about startups. So go ahead and hire me before it's too late.
Unfortunately, you can't hire Adam because he doesn't exist. But you can have the next best thing, Heraldist, perception engineering for startups.
Now, as we dive in, allow us to introduce ourselves. Thank you first and foremost again for joining us today. My name is Elena Huju. My colleague is Mirela Angelescu, and we are founders and partners of Heraldist. And Heraldist, in a nutshell, is a brand strategy and communication consultancy that has been working with tech companies from all over the world. About 5 years ago, out of 10 years since we've been on the market, we decided to use our knowledge to help the technology companies out there build their products into powerful brands. We were coming after years of working with global brands in multinational companies, and we found this exciting, interesting space, which is the tech world, that was completely underserved, and mostly with some notable examples and exceptions like Airbnb, Booking.com, or Canva, it was missing this good marketing and good brand building. So what we'll discuss about today is perception engineering, and we'll share a few principles we are using in our trademark methodology that help tech startups define who they are and how they want to connect to their customers in order to achieve growth. We will find out the reasons why perception engineering is needed in a company's life, what the methodology is all about, and how we bring it to life. What are the positive outcomes of building perception, and what are the most important things we hope and wish you would take home with you after today's session. So let's kick off today's session with some simple observations, starting with the first one, which is the tech world overlooks the propeller of managing well the perception of their products. Let me explain. What we noticed working for many years with startups and founders is that they are focused on building the best product out there, pouring most of their resources in product development and talent. However, what the evidence shows is that the best product is not always the most successful product. As frustrating as it sounds for tech people and founders, the product that is perceived to be the best is the most successful. And you heard me right, the product that is perceived to be the best. Among the many reasons startups fail, about 50% of those are connected to how the product is perceived by its intended target audience. And on the other hand, what other studies have shown is that the market value of companies that complement good products with strong brands ends up being double than those who just stick to building a good product. So don't be quick to dismiss the true impact of a brand, for it brings unexpected benefits to your product. While you are pondering on this matter, just check your sneakers, smartwatch, laptop, streaming service, and think that these are brands you bought into rather than just products. You chose them to be part of your life. Out of these harsh truths and more, perception engineering was born, a methodology that helps tech companies define who they are and how they want to connect to their customers for growth. And perception engineering is based on belief and scientific evidence that good products need to develop into brands in order to thrive, and that from a point onwards, building a brand is the key growth driver for companies. Keep in mind that when building a product and a brand, you need to avoid commoditization. And that means that you need to give people reasons to connect with you beyond the product features. If they relate only to the product features or the price, this will be their only criteria when a slightly better or a slightly cheaper product comes along. And keep in mind that the product is fragile in front of comparable products, but a brand, if you build it right, is not. So we are not naive. We've been in this landscape for a while now, and we know that usually tech founders and tech community as a whole are marketing adverse. And even the mighty Bezos declared some time ago, advertising is the price you pay for having an unremarkable product. And Bezos stood by this claim for decades until he hasn't. Let me give you some facts. Amazon's advertising budget in 2022 was $20.6 billion, rising from year ahead. Amazon paid a whopping $6 million this year to air a commercial during Super Bowl, making it the most expensive airtime in the world. So Amazon knows exactly what to do to win people's hearts. Plus, their new service, Amazon Ads, is now huge, raising $35 billion in revenue. This is not a surprise. After all, beyond the catch line, everything Bezos was doing up until now was thinking about the consumer needs, the foundation of marketing, by the way. He was thinking about market orientation and customer centricity. So if you want to see what $6 million worth of airtime, production not included, by the way, looks like, check out the Super Bowl Amazon ad here.
Excited to see you.
That's the office this week, right?
That's the report. Life is free. It's goes on. There's a tree. Even you can.
One.
I like that one. Life is free. It's free. Life goes on, you know.
Sorry about this. Let's move ahead. So aside from its whopping price, this is a beautiful piece of communication that talks about the product in a very emotional way. And it brought a lot of good results for Amazon. But let's go back to the discussion at matter. What is perception engineering at the end of the day? Well, in a nutshell, perception engineering is about how we, the people, feel beyond what the product does. And we've already established that how we feel about the product will determine its fate, success, or failure. Now, perception engineering, deconstructed, is a two-phase process. We first start with a crucial moment when you find your best positioning, making it credible and profitable in the long run, a positioning that will influence everything onward. And the best positioning out there has to check three fundamental criteria. How is my brand relevant to my target audience? How is my brand different from the competition? How is my brand authentic based on who I am and what I can deliver? A positioning exercise is almost scientific. And what we normally do is dive deep into all aspects of the company, product, business plans, founders and employees, and how they relate to the brand, competition, and customer. And this is an exploration exercise that involves a lot of questions, among which are, who are your customers? What are their primary pain points? What do they value most? Where do they go for information? And what's most important to them when selecting a vendor? Then we look at the competition. Who's the direct competitor? Who's the indirect competitor of my brand? How and where do they communicate? And what are the points of parity and the points of difference between myself and my competitors? And then we look at the company, trying to establish what is the main problem my product will help change. What are the features and benefits that my product provides? What's the company's values and the growth strategy? These are just examples of questions because in reality, there are many more. But if you ask them right, they will help you avoid either the parity territory between you and your competitors or the traps of risking to offer to your customers a product that they don't really need. At the end of this exercise, what will be revealed is how your brand is unique in the world. So take a moment to reflect on your current positioning. Ask yourself, is it relevant to my customers? Is it different than my competitors? Is it true to my values and capabilities? As you are skimming through these questions, whether you have a clear positioning or you are, exploring one, keep in mind that unfortunately, maybe 30 seconds won't really answer all your questions. But if you go back to the drawing board and you ask yourself the right questions, that will help you see the true path for your brand. Now, as we move on, assuming that we define the right positioning for our brand, we need to start manifesting it first. through a memorable and distinctive identity, followed by other manifestations, all building perception that we desire. A brand identity is not a name or a logo. It's the unique way that your brand looks and expresses itself on every channel, online or offline. And the great brand identity has to be iconic, has to be easy to remember, has to keep your brand alive for years. You know very well that a strong brand built on the foundation of a great product grows to be more valuable than the company itself in the years to come. So let me give you a couple of examples of brands that follow their unique brand positioning with an identity to match and how the story flows. The first one is a client of ours, currently named Hill, formerly known as Apnomic, currently a Californian Series B tech startup. Their product is a cybersecurity software that plugs into your company's software, studies its behavior, and can predict and prevent any problem that may occur. When they approached us, it took them 45 minutes to present their product to us. And they were facing similar issues when pitching to C-level executives for new business. Moreover, they had been stuck in between investment rounds for about 5 years. So what we did through a positioning exercise was to simplify their complex product proposition from cognitive operations for hybrid digital services, which is already mind-blowing, to fixed before it happens. We changed their name from Apnomic to Hill to match this positioning. We created an entire identity system and made the brand more human, more easy to remember. We did all of these things which helped them not only pitch better and memorable and get more clients, but also get more than $20 million investment in about 3 months after finishing this process with us. And that's the power of a strong positioning and a strong brand identity to match. Another example, which is not from our portfolio, but you all know this brand, is the GoDaddy rebranding, which happened about 3 years ago. What GoDaddy intended to represent in its design was the entrepreneurial spirit of its target audience through this lopsided dynamic G that you see in the bottom of the screen. They started from this truth that all of their customers have an idea. They have an initiative they want to bring to life. So the brand wanted to say, we are here with you for your first step. We are here with you for your next step. And we've got your back every step of the way. And that's an identity that, together with other communication elements, tells a story to remember. Now we have to move on. We define the positioning, we define the identity. It has true colors, so we can start communicating. Whether it's a product video, a digital campaign, an employer activation, or a PR stunt, always keep track of your strategic North Star, and everything will fall nicely into place. Beyond communication and advertising, perception engineering, when done right, has an impact on the whole organization, on how you run marketing campaigns and you spend your marketing budget efficiently, how you hire people and what's the brand image you want to send out there, so for the right talent to join your company, how you design your sales policy, how you add features to your product, how you build your customer service and business development. And let me give you an example of how a brand started from positioning and manifested himself in more than just advertising. This is Regatta, and Regatta is from Boston. And in a nutshell, it's a connected fitness app designed for competitive athletes and performance-driven fitness enthusiasts. Our job was to develop their positioning, the go-to-market strategy, a new website, and the creative platform that resulted in a digital media campaign. Now, what you need to know about Regatta is that it was founded by these amazing company owners on the scientific understanding that humans benefit significantly from the live presence and encouragement of others in pursuit of their wellness goals. So Regatta app can be attached to older generation of fitness machines, like rowing machines, in the comfort of your home. So the users are able to track their performance and connect and compete with others. After we defined their positioning, we took it to a creative concept, and we decided to make the regular people who have the determination to go every day to place themselves on their machines and start training into real-life influencers. They were an inspiration for others to start training, and the campaign that we pulled in digital celebrated them. Now, I mentioned that the brand positioning lives beyond communication. So what Regatta applies from their positioning in various ways is only chooses to participate in events that are addressing performance-driven athletes, has partnerships with manufacturers of machines that make an impact on performance, has built a wonderful relationship with trainers that are only, the professional ones, not the hip ones. They have this constant behavior that they encourage in their users to be competitive, to keep track of their results. They encourage them to join live classes, everything focused on performance. Regatta is never about, let's have fun with sports, let's try to see how it feels. It doesn't focus on health living like other brands do. It doesn't bring celebrity trainers. It's not about a hype of fashion or a studio brand. It's about performance all the way through. And that brings the brand in front in an interesting way, different, authentic, relevant versus its competitors. Now, let me recap a couple of things for you. Once you have your positioning done right, you've already made an informed decision on how you want the world to perceive you. The next critical step in communication is to tell to the world who you are, customers, employees, investors, stakeholders. So this perception starts forming in their minds, gets roots down. And remember, your audience is the one who owns the perception. Your job is to manage it correctly, consistently, so it's profitable for you. And speaking about profitable, let's move on to the next part of the presentation and talk about what matters to all entrepreneurs, which is growth. So I will invite Mirela to take over and take you through some interesting observations about growth. Thank you, and I'll see you at the end of the presentation.
Good evening. Thank you, Elena. Let me take over where you left. So we are talking about growth. And when we are talking about growth, there are two lenses that we need to use on it. One is the short-term growth, and the other one is the long-term growth. And this is because the statistics are showing actually that the lifestyle span of a startup, it's about 9 years. So there are 9 years from the takeoff to the exit, IPO, merger, whatever happens for a successful startup. So this is a long-term game, although we are fighting every day short-term objectives that we need to deliver on. And communication is one of the tools that we have for growth. So in this context, the communication needs to do two things. It needs to bring instant results to capture existing demand, customers that are in market, ready to buy a solution from your category, but also to create future demand, to build the connections with potential customers that are not right now in the market, but they will be in 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, or even further down the road. And we know, why do both? Why not concentrate on 100% of our efforts on converting leads and bringing sales in right now? And actually, we shouldn't do this because of a famous calculation. This is a calculation done by a statistician, Professor John Dawes from the Ehrenberg Best Institute of Marketing Science. This is the largest institute in the world that studies marketing effectiveness. And he discovered that most B2Bs, in most B2B categories, at any given time, 95% of the audience are out of market and 5% are in market, ready to buy. So we have from our total potential buyers, 5% are ready to buy at any given moment, and 95 are not, but they will be in a future that is closer or further away. And Actually, you can do a little thought experiment to empirically prove Professor Do's law. You can think of your company. So you just contracted or renewed the contract with your bank or with cloud solution providers, and you are being exposed to the competitors' performance campaign, or you have the competitor sales force sending you a cold email. Is there anything they can say to persuade you to buy from them right now? Not really. So this 95.5 law can also be explained like this. Statistics are showing that actually businesses are changing their vendors about every 5 years. So every 5 years, one vendor has a window of opportunity of 3 months, about one trimester. It's what it takes to make a decision, do the research and make a decision to get into a new client's roster. So important, and we will talk about this 95.5 law as we move on. So 5% of your potential customers are forming what we are calling existing demand, people that are in the market ready to buy. And we are targeting these people with conversion campaigns, which are our digital performance campaigns or activations or promotions. We are talking to them with this 5%. But we need to do something for the rest 95% of our potential customers, because we need to turn them into future demand, what we call future demand. With them, we need to build connections so they put us on their mental list, and they can remember us months or years down the road when they will be ready to buy in the category where we are playing with our product. Why is this important? Why do we need to think about these people and to spend money now for something that might happen in 6 months or in 1 year or 1 year and a half? It's because the brand that is remembered is the brand that gets bought. We have numerous evidence and researches on this, and only recently Harvard Business Review published a paper stating that 80% of the B2B customers are starting their search in a category already having a short list of vendors in mind. So they enter the market, they are about to become our 5%, but they already have a short list in their mind when they are starting searching for solutions. And out of this 80%, 90% end up buying from a vendor on this initial list. So if we are not on their mental list when they enter the market and are ready to buy a product in our category, the chances to be chosen are extremely thin. So we need to do this work in advance. The tech world, but it's not the only one, unfortunately. Companies overinvest to capture this existing demand. So there are a lot of performance campaigns, and everybody kind of forgets about investing in future demand, what we are calling perception building. And of course, we understand why this is happening, why you need to prove traction, why you need to get a specific revenue to answer the investors. But we will see next why this is not the most efficient approach to growth. And we have here a simplified view of the effect on sales that short-term campaigns or performance campaigns have compared to long-term campaigns. So what we are calling perception building or brand building. This is a study done by the B2B Institute, which is a think tank supported by LinkedIn that studies how B2B companies grow. And these are conclusions, what you see here in a very simplified manner, are conclusions from an evidence-based research that studied thousands of brands for about 2 decades and saw how their different communication investments are contributing to sales. And what they noticed is that performance campaigns deliver steep curves of sales. They are very, very good at turning in-market customers into buyers. But once you stop the investment, the red line, they stop delivering sales. While perception building campaigns start much slower, they don't deliver so much in the beginning because perception is a long-term game, and making emotional connections to people is a long-term game. But after about 6 months, their effects on sales really start showing. And what is great about them, and it makes them a must for all of us, is that their effects are cumulative. So once you stop the campaign, the growth will slow, but it will continue. And once you take over the campaign, you take over a little bit under where you restart a little bit under where you left, but you don't start from zero. So you don't need to build the same investor over and over again. This performance delivers great short-term growth. Perception building delivers long-term growth. Performance campaigns are capturing demand, are capturing the people that are in market ready to buy, and you are presenting your solution. But and perception building campaigns create demand, but also capture it, because what it's proven they are doing, they are delivering sales on the spot, not as such a good rate as a performance campaign, but they are creating the connections and the memories that will feed our future demand. And studies are showing that for optimal results and for sustainable growth, you need a combination of the two. So we need to do both in parallel. But as usual, in everything, the reality is very different. Actually, what we know is that most B2B tech ads don't contribute to long-term growth. And we have here another study from the B2B Institute, this time in collaboration with System 1. System 1 is the best company in the world at predicting the commercial impact of communication. So they have a way of measuring the impact that communication has in sales and in market share. And actually, this study that is done on 600 B2B tech ads over a period of 8 years, from 2013 to 2021, shows that less than 8% of the B2B ads can generate an increase in market share 6 months after their airing. So so you can imagine the waste, yeah. In System 1's measurements, only good to exceptional ads, so the last 3 on the chart, have the potential of having long-term impact in sales. And they also have something in common, this 8% of ads from good to exceptional. They are generating intense positive emotions in their audience. And the emotions are a way to get the attention of the audience. This way, the ads will be remembered, the brands will be remembered, they will be on the mental list of the customers. And when they are entering the market and they are ready to buy a product in a specific category, being there, they have a chance of contributing to sales. So another point is about emotions, and we'll talk a little bit about this as we move on. And so we see this staggering 95% of the ads that don't really move a needle after the campaign is over. So they work only when I put money behind in media budgets behind them. And why is that? It's because, again, we are focusing on short-term growth, we are focusing on performance campaign, and we forget to do the rest, to do anything that has some sort of cumulative effect and people will have in mind 6 months and after and more after we aired the campaign. Again, in order to grow, companies need to do both. They need to do short-term campaigns, communication efforts, and long-term communication efforts. Because of this amazing 95-5 law, amazing and also panicking 95-5 law, which says that at any given time, 95% of your customers are out of market and 5% are in, ready to buy product in your category, if you are a B2B brand, of course. And connected to the 95-5 law, there is another rule. It's what we call the 60-40 rule. And this rule is again on a conclusion of that evidence-based research that we shared before. Decades of following the growth of thousands of brands, and both B2B and B2C, show that brands that grew continuously put 60% of their efforts into talking to the 95% of the audience that is not in market when they are talking to them. So they are building long-term connections with them, and they are spending 40% of their efforts talking to the 5% of the audience that is really ready to buy the category and turn them into buyers. So for startups, there were studies that were done also on startups. The situation is a bit more nuanced. But this same rule of the double speed communication applies, short term and long term, and do them both. But in the beginning, when you have an innovative product and you need to show quick traction, you can turn the ratio on its head and you can spend 60 to 70% on performance. So talking to that 5% people that are in the market ready to buy, and 40 or 30% on perception building. The key is not to get caught by the pressure of the short-term objectives and forget the long-term gain. One more point here is that when we are talking perception building, we can do this with an ad campaign, but we can do it also with a PR effort, influencer marketing, a sponsorship, an employer branding effort. So we have more tools in our box to build perception. It doesn't necessarily need to be, I don't know, digital video ads, for example. The difference is in the message and in the recipe that we are using and in the focus that we are putting in this campaign. This makes them either okay to appropriate to talk to in-market customers or to out-of-market customers. So let's talk a little bit about these two different recipes and see how these two types of communication are different. When we are talking to in-market customers, the 5%. You need to use rational messages. So we will talk about product features, about benefits, about we will offer a white paper, we will ask for a demo booking, we will offer a discount, a bundle within this realm of rational offerings. We are using narrower targeting because we are targeting people that are in market and are looking for a solution in our category. And we are evaluating these campaigns with sales metrics. We are using conversions, cost per conversions, ROI, very rational and easy to demonstrate metrics. When we are talking to out-of-market customers, ideally, we are talking to all the potential customers in our category of products. And this can be difficult sometimes and expensive. And we need to deliver emotional messages because the emotional brain is where we are forming impressions and where we store the memories. And we will measure these campaigns with memory metrics. So we will measure things like brand awareness, brand associations, what people are associating our brand with, what is the perception that they have about us. We will measure considerations, we will measure preference. So are we in a relevant position on that mental list of theirs? And having talked about these two different ways of communicating for instant sales and long-term connections, I propose a little game. I will share two sets of ads from big tech B2B brands that are best in class at playing this long and short game. And I will kindly ask you to watch them and decide for yourself which ads are talking to in-market customers and which ads are talking to all category customers. And I just hope that my videos will play better than Elena, at least for me. It wasn't really good. But let's see. Okay, I believe it's quite clear, something from Salesforce. One ad is telling us connecting sales and operations, get forecast accuracy, get the white paper, and the other one is telling us we bring companies and customers together. They are using mnemonics, nice, the colors of the brand, the character of the brand, nice music, special jingles, so everything. So of course, the first one, the one on my left, it's in market, and the video is out of market. So the video is designed to build connections. So when you need a solution from this category, you would think about Salesforce. Okay, and the next one is from Miro, and again we have don't buy a whiteboard, use the Miro's online whiteboard, sign up and try, no credit card required, so very rational messaging, which is very different than this
There's a monster problem, and our hero needs solutions. So she starts a Miro board to brainstorm. Shoot it, suggest the scientists. They make a plan. They make the call. They throw the switch. And the world watches as the exponential power of collaboration... Doesn't work this time. Back to the Miro board. Charm it? Shelley from marketing gives him the eye. The monster gives her the nose. Dave at the office says, eat it. Now he's out of office. Just then, our hero has a breakthrough. Shoot it with a camera. Shoot a movie. And so, our humble team saves the day by working together on Miro.
Yeah, so again, quite clear which is addressed to people that are searching for a solution of this sort, and which ad is designed to create memories and to make Miro memorable, maybe in 6 months or 1 year, when you will need a collaborative solution for your hybrid working place. We are getting closer to the end of this session. Hopefully it was packed with useful concepts and good arguments. In the end, we are proposing 5 forget-me-nots to have in mind the next time you'll be thinking about your company's growth and how you can use the tools of perception engineering for it. And
There's a monster problem, and our hero needs solutions. So she starts a Miro board.
I'm sure you know that we rehearse this a lot of times, so make sure that the videos are playing well and everything, and still it's messy. Sorry about this. So the first forget-me-not is the best product is not always the most successful product, sadly. The product that is perceived to be the best wins in the market. So this is growth, it's a product engineering game, but it's as well a perception engineering one. So make sure you play them both. Good products need to develop into brands in order to thrive, in order to bring sustainable growth. We need to give people reasons to connect with you beyond the product features. Because product features can be copied, innovation can wear out, prices can be matched, but the connection that you are building with your audience over a long period of time will act like a moat protecting you from competitors' attacks. Third, forget-me-not, it's about making an informed decision on how you want to be perceived. Do your positioning exercise. Make sure that your positioning is relevant for your target customers, is different from your competitors, and is true to yourself and to what you can deliver. And this is really a foundation of for everything. Don't forget to do things in the right way. Positioning first, decide how you want to be perceived, then manifestation, identity, communication, so on and so forth. Don't jump to do a presentation video or a website if you didn't make an informed decision on how you want to be perceived. What is your position? Manifestations really are everything that the company does. So it can be identity, it can be communication, the website, but it can be also the packaging, how customer service answers inquiries, how salespeople pitch, how you choose partnership, whom you sponsor, whom you support. So everything can be and should be in line with your positioning. And the last one is don't forget that growth is a long-term game. Don't forget that the lifespan of a startup from takeoff to exit or IPO or mergers is 9 years. So do performance to capture existing demand, but don't forget to create future demand, to build perception, to build connections with the people that are not right now in the market ready to buy. And don't forget to balance short-term growth with long-term growth. So allocate 40% of your resources for the 5% of people that are in the market, are ready to buy, and 60% of your resources for the rest of the 95% of people that are not yet ready to buy, but they will be in the future. This is everything from us today, apart from the Q&As. If you want to get in touch, these are our email addresses, or you can scan the QR code to reach out to us. And as Mathilde promised in the beginning, we are ready to take any questions that you might have. Thank you.
So if anyone wants to just go ahead and talk, that's fine. You don't have to type it in the chat. You can just like unmute yourself and then go ahead if someone has a question. Well, I have a question. I'll start with my first question then. Maybe the other ones will come up with something later. So when you say the best product is not always the most successful product, the product that is perceived to be the best is the most successful. Do you mean we should put less focus on building the best product? Or what exactly do you mean by this sentence?
I think I can take over this, Matthew. Thank you for the question. I'll be very honest with you. So I'm a business owner myself, and aside from Heraldist, like probably other entrepreneurs in the room, we have tried startups and failed at startups. So things which are not related to communication. One of the mistakes we did many years ago when building our first startup was to spend so much time on the product. And we tried to make it perfect, and we missed an opportunity out there. The way we're coming from communication, we didn't know the rules that we know today, the things that we've discussed, we presented to you today. So the question is, you don't have to sacrifice the product. You have to balance. As your product idea starts to get shape, to get developed, even if you are at an MVP stage, start thinking about the positioning. Start thinking about the identity of your product. You might not afford to do communication at this stage because you still need to launch a product out there, even if it's a minimum viable product, get some funding, and then expand the products, recruit in the market and whatnot. So we are working with startup companies of different shapes and sizes. Some of them are pre-seed, some of them are Series A, some of them are unicorns. Different needs at different life stages. Usually when you are in a pre-seed mode, you are still building the MVP. Start thinking about your positioning already. You already have the idea of a product, even if it's not yet validated. Hopefully, you know where you want to sell your product, to whom you want to sell it. So as you put resources, time, money, dev people, and whatnot, on building the product, start in parallel to think about the brand positioning at least, and the brand identity to follow. If you're a more advanced company and you need to, add features to your product, work on those as well, but make sure that you know what your product stands for in terms of authentic, relevant, different, and everything that we've discussed with you today. So it's not about, it's like what Mirela was saying with, how much money you put in, brand performance and in raising the perception. It's not about either or. It's about introducing the positioning exercise as you go ahead and build that product out there, just to give your brand a fighting chance in a competitive world. And I'm sure everyone in this room has a competitive landscape, regardless of the business they're developing. Hope that helps.
Thank you very much. That was really interesting. Okay, there's another question in the chat from Alice. how do you do the right split between brand communication and performance campaigns?
Actually, I think that you can always start from the rule of the 60-40. So think to allocate 60% of your efforts into building long-term connections. So talking to that 95% of the audience that is out of market, and 40% to turn existing demand into sales. So, but starting from this, you can do adjustments depending on the life stage of your startup. If you are at the very beginning and you have an innovation that hopefully quite a lot of people were waiting for, because if not, why really do it? You will probably you have a bigger pool of people that you can turn into customers right now, so you can run bigger performance campaigns, allocate 70% of your budget on this, and start running them. Don't forget to allocate the rest of the 30% into any sort of brand building communication effort, whatever you choose to do, through influencers, through a nice video, a digital campaign, a partnership with somebody that can help put your brand out there. So it doesn't really matter, but don't forget about it and just get caught in this performance, short-term results, and then you spend and you stop spending, and your sales are again going down to your base and so on, and you need to spend again and again. So and as the brand matures, really all evidence shows that for mature brands the right split is 60% talking to all category users, 40% of the budget and of your efforts talking to people that are ready to buy right now when you are communicating.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Are there any questions? The audience?
Maybe we were very clear.
Yeah.
Talking only about rules and laws and evidence. There's nothing questionable about what we presented.
Well, I have another question. Is there a way to develop a positioning by ourselves if we cannot afford a consultant?
I mean, I think you can try. At the end of the day, it's about asking a lot of questions. But what I know from my experience of doing this for many, many years, and also having the perspective of being a company owner, is that as much as we're embedded in our own businesses, we all have a certain degree of bias, like, tunnel view, when it comes to things that are related to our company, our competitors, and our target audience. And that's because in many cases we're emotionally involved in what we do. The day-to-day work takes over our perceptions, our own perceptions about the business, and we might risk losing track of what's important. So let me give you an example, because I've been a brand strategist for years, and I've been doing these workshops for positioning with our clients. When we're investigating the customer, the market, the competition, the trends, the company, and whatnot, in so many cases, I find out things that for the company owner, they seem like superfluous. They seem like, this is the normal way of us doing things. There's nothing interesting about the way we answer the phones when our clients call. There's nothing unusual. This is our normal way of doing things on how we think about product features. Because as you do repeatedly one thing in the daily life of your company, for you, it doesn't seem outstanding anymore. Our job as brand strategists, as we dive into, these tens of questions and, research and data and whatnot, is to find these golden nuggets of truths about the brand, about the product, or about the company, or about the employees that are indeed extremely interesting, maybe different from the competitors, and something that the customer might need. So the exercise can be done, but I guarantee you that it won't be as good as it would have been done with somebody who's outside of their company. And we've been going through a brand strategy process ourselves some years ago. And I saw myself being biased about how I see my positioning for my own company, because I was in awe with everything we were doing, which meant that I didn't see all the truths, or I regarded the truths of my company as being just a normal day in the office. For my clients, it was something which was interesting versus my competitors. So it's like opening Google when you have a headache and WebMD versus going to a doctor and do the right analysis and get the right diagnostic and get healed in the proper way. Thank you, Matilda.
Thank you so much. There is a question from Philip. I will read it out. What would you recommend for a company that has a strong position in its home country with a large database of people and that decides to expand abroad, but does not have enough capital to do? Would you recommend for the expansion allocate the capital more to brand building and not being profitable for a period of time, or invest heavily in sales?
These are sort of my favorite questions on the split and why it matters, and why you should sacrifice some budget now to build connections and to build this future demand that you will need at some point in time, for sure. So I think the answer is to allocate, of course, a lot, because you are in the beginning, you are entering the market. So you can do a lot of performance, put there a big chunk of your budget. But if you are thinking, you cannot ask for people that are not knowing you to buy you. So it's very important. It's like in real life. We first introduce ourselves. We go to a party, we introduce ourselves. We just don't just go to people and ask them to do things for us. So it's the same with brands. You need some time to establish yourself, to build your credibility, to build familiarity with the people that you are targeting, and then you can ask things from them. And in the beginning, you are entering a new market. There's a potential there. There are people waiting for your solution. So by all means, do performance campaigns, but don't forget to back them up with some effort on brand building, because at some point you will need this, and also it's the most effective way for growth, because of course what's happening tomorrow and next month in the company is important, but what's happening in 1 year, it's equally important. And if you need to invest all the time in performance campaigns that don't build up to nothing, you are not playing an efficient game. You will need to spend this money over and over and over again. While if you are doing any sort of brand building effort, at some point there are cumulative effects, and you won't need to spend that much to keep the curve going up. You won't need to spend the same amount of as you would spend in performance campaigns.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did that answer your question, Philip? Yeah, I believe yes. Okay. Do we have time for another question? Maybe one last from me. Is there, if I already did some communication before building the positioning, is it too late to make it right, or what can I do in this situation?
No, of course not. It's never too late to make it right, because at the end of the day, the right positioning on which you'll build the further communication and everything that Mirela explained about that split will actually make your marketing budget more efficient. So we've seen quite a lot of cases of companies who have avoided positioning or didn't know that they should have done positioning, just went straight to, put a name, a logo, a website that looks like all your competitors, create, a product video trying to tell a story. And of course, they didn't get the results. So it's good to fix it whenever you are ready to do that and go back to the drawing board, do the positioning and all the elements that follow. Now, it's always easy to do that when you're early stage type of company because you don't have a lot of brand awareness already. But we have worked with unicorn companies who have been in the market for some years. They had quite a large valuation. They were expanding or were existing in many markets across the world. And they still felt the need that because they were growing so fast and because the market was so competitive, it was the right time to go back to the drawing board and establish what their positioning was all about. Because what they have been doing for years before, becoming a unicorn was to invest a lot in performance marketing. And as Mirela was, rightly showing you guys was that you spend, and then when you start spending, you don't have, a clear position in brand awareness in the market anymore. So you can do it even at the unicorn stage later in the company. Not to mention that for established companies that have been in the market for many years, you can do a repositioning at one point in time. So maybe you already have a positioning, maybe you build on that communication, and maybe the market context changed. You have more aggressive competitors, the customer needs change, and you can still go back to the drawing board and do a repositioning for yourself. So depending on what life stage you are, it's better to have clarity in the way you position yourself to the world and either reshuffle, start building, or restart building communication around that matter. But always start with the foundation of the house. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Elena. Thank you. Thank you. I think it was a really interesting workshop. I don't know if there are some more questions, maybe not. So, oh, yes, there is. Amelie is asking, if the development of our brand is better abroad because it is based on needs that are different from those in France, how can we continue to develop the brand in a uniform way?
I think this is actually there is again something that is called two-speed marketing communications. So you can do a brand positioning that is talking really about emotional needs of your customers and talking about the values of the brand. And then if you have different target audiences, you can do positioning statements like product positioning that are addressing that specific customer. Because don't forget, the positioning needs to be relevant for the targeted consumer. Yeah, first and foremost, and then to be different from the competitors, which is also very important, and be true to who you are. So in order to be relevant for the customer, you need to look at the target audience and see how you can position your company in your product in a way that it answers their specific needs. And then you can have an overarching brand positioning that is talking about the bigger values, about your mission, about how you see the world, about what you want to achieve in the world, how you want to serve your customers, what is the role that you want to play in their lives. So all this can be like the brand positioning. And I think in the big brands in our lives, the global brands are doing this exactly. They are talking to us on a higher level, to all of us at a global level. We have the same image about Coca-Cola and Nike and Miro, by the way, because I just showed it. But specific target audiences are targeted with messages that answer to their specific needs. So if I'm a mom, I would resonate to the Coca-Cola campaign that it's talking about Coca-Cola and food, bringing the family together over meals. if I'm a teenager, I would resonate with the Coca-Cola music or something hipper. But they are all standing behind this overarching idea of Coca-Cola that is offering, you know, happiness in a bottle. So it's this is the recipe. Have a bigger emotional value for brand, what your brand stands for, what is the role the brand plays in your consumer's life, and have specific messages, tactical messages, answering specific needs of your targeted audiences, being different demographics or different cultures that Amelie is mentioning.
Okay, thank you very much. All right,
You're welcome.
are there any more questions? Maybe not, but if you do think about some questions, you can always reach out to Mirella and Elena by email or on LinkedIn also, I guess. And I will be sharing the contact details with all of you. And there will be also an event recording. So for those of you who missed the event, there's a possibility to have a watch on YouTube. And that should be in a couple of days, maybe even tomorrow. It will be already there. So I will share it as well with each of you. So thank you so much, Elena and Mirella. It was really interesting. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did. I learned a lot of things today. And yeah, I have a good night. And,
I'm glad.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you
Talk
so
to you
much,
soon.
everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye bye, everyone.
Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.